In this video, we are going to be talking about identifying multiples and finding the LCM of two numbers. So some things we need to know are the word multiples and what that means, and what does LCM mean. So first, multiples. Multiples are the product when you multiply two numbers together. So for instance, in this example, 6 is the product of 6 times 1. 12 is the product of 6 times 2. 18 is the product of 6 times 3. 24 is 6 times 4. And 30 is 6 times 5. So the multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30. Notice, though, we have this dot, dot, dot. There are an infinite number of multiples because we could keep going on. We could say, okay, well, we have 36 and 42 and 48. 48. And so on and so on. So we could just keep going. So that means you could never find all the multiples of 6, even if you tried, because it would just go on forever. So another way to say it is, in order to find multiples, we skip count. So I think the most basic one that we're all used to is like the number 2. So to find the multiples of 2, we could just skip count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on and so on. Another really common one that we are super used to is 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on and so on. 35, 40, 45, 50. Okay. But what happens when maybe the number's not as easy? Maybe it's 9. So the first one is always going to be the number times 1. So 9 times 1 is 9. The second one is going to be the number times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. Notice I'm putting commas in between. The third one is 9 times 3, which is 27. 9 times 4, which is 36. And then 9 times 5, which is 45. Now, if you aren't super comfortable with your multiplication factors or multiplication facts, you can always do repeated addition. So 9 plus 9 is 18, and I can keep adding 9. Now, this strategy comes in handy if you were trying to find the multiples of a big number like, let's say, 18. Then it would be easier to keep adding than to multiply, unless you really love to multiply. Either one works to find your multiples. Now, a problem will typically say find the first 5 multiples, or find the first 10, or what is the 12th multiple of this number. And so don't have to worry about keep going and going and going. So just find whatever the problem is asking you. Now we get to this problem where it says find the least common multiple. So least common multiple, or LCM, is the smallest. Smallest is least, right? Positive number that is a multiple of 2 or more numbers. So in this example, we have 4 and 6. So what I did first is I found the multiples of 4. I'm going to rewrite it. 4, 6, oops. I got ahead of myself. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. I went out about 5. Then I'm going to move to 6 and go 6. Now I can start comparing. Well, 6. Is there a 6 in this top row? Nope. The next number would be 12. Is there a 12 in this top row? Yes, there is. It's right here. So because there's a 12 in both, and it is the first one that they have in common, that's the LCM. All right. Another way to do this is here are the steps. So if I were to do the problem, find the LCM of 4 and 5. Okay. So it says find the multiples of each number. I always start with the smaller number. So the smaller number in this case is 4. and I go out 5 multiples. So 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. Then I move on to the bigger of the two numbers, which is 5. And I start counting. So 5 is the first one. Is there a 5 in this top row? Nope. So then I move on to 10. Is there a 10 in the top row? Nope. 15. There's no 15. 20. Is there a 20? Yes, there it is. Boom. Here is our LCM. And I write 20. You kind of underline the numbers that they have in common. So if you just go out 5 each and there's more than one that they have in common. So for instance, in this case, there will be more numbers that they have in common. There'll be more common multiples, but this is the least or the smallest common. So let's do one more together. Okay, we're going to do the LCM of 6 and 10. So if you thought back, is this going to be 60? Because 6 times 10 is 60. Well, the LCM of 4 and 5 was 20, and 4 times 5 is 20. So let's see if that works for all of our cases, because that would be easier to just multiply them together. So I'm going to start with 6 because it's smaller. So I'm going to multiply 6. So I have 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Now I'm going to move on to 10. So we have 10. Is there a 10 in the top row? Nope. 20. Is there a 20? It'll be right there. Is there a 30? Yes. So we can stop. So what that means is that our LCM is 30. So notice it wasn't 60 like we originally thought it could be. So it's not always multiplying the two numbers together, and that's super important to know. So some things to remember are when we find multiples, we skip count, and multiples go on forever. They don't stop. So if I gave you a homework assignment of saying find all the multiples of 10, you would never ever finish. Okay? And LCM means least common multiple. So you can do the LCM of 2 or more numbers. Okay, so just remember least, the smallest one, and multiples, which sounds like multiply.